Zongzi's amazing standing egg.
Part 1, The Zongzi Dilemma. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Culture Explorer. I'm your host Emily, and as always, we are here to bridge the gap between language and culture.
And I'm Paul, the beginner student who is always hungry for knowledge and food. Hi Emily, happy festive season. Today we are talking about a very tasty holiday, right?
That's right, Paul. We are diving deep into the Dragon Boat Festival. But before we get into the history and the races, I have to ask you something. I actually saw you in the office break room earlier today. You were concentrating so hard, unwrapping something large, green, and triangular. What exactly was that?
Oh, you caught me. That was my lunch, Zongzi. My mom made them. But oh my goodness, Emily, I had a total language disaster today.
Oh no, what happened?
My American coworker, Dave, walked into the break room and smelled it. He asked me, "Hey, Paul, what's that?" And my brain just completely froze. I didn't know the proper English word. So I looked at him and said, "It is, sticky yellow rice trapped inside giant grass."
Trapped inside giant grass? Oh, Paul, that sounds like a horror movie for vegetables. How did Dave react?
He looked so scared. He looked at my lunch, then looked at me and asked if he needed to call for help. It was so embarrassing.
Don't worry, Paul. That's exactly why we are here today. Let's help you and all our listeners description-wise. Now, if you look up Zongzi in a standard dictionary, the common translation you will find is rice dumpling. But honestly, that can still be a bit confusing for Westerners. Paul, when you hear the word dumpling, what do you usually think of?
I think of gyoza, or like a little pork dumpling, or a boiled flour bun. Something small you can pop into your mouth with chopsticks.
Exactly. A Westerner hears dumpling and thinks of a small dough wrapper filled with meat. Zongzi is much bigger, heavier, and wrapped in leaves you cannot eat. So here's a much better, more descriptive way to say it for beginners. Sticky rice wrapped in bamboo leaves.
Let me try that. Sticky rice wrapped in bamboo leaves.
Perfect. That gives them a clear picture. But wait, there is an even better secret weapon for language learners, the analogy. An analogy is when you compare something new to something they already know. Paul, try saying this sentence. It is like a Chinese tamale.
It is like a Chinese tamale. Oh wow, a tamale. I know what that is. It's a Mexican dish with corn dough wrapped in corn husks, right?
Exactly. They look and feel very similar because they're both steamed packets of deliciousness. If you tell an American or European colleague it's like a Chinese tamale but made with rice, their eyes will light up. They will instantly understand the concept.
That is so much easier. Wow, Chinese tamale. I'm memorizing that right now. Dave will understand that immediately.
Now, once they know what it is, they will ask you what's inside it. Let's practice the fillings. Depending on whether you like northern or southern style, the fillings change. Let's practice 3 classic ingredients. Repeat after me, Paul. Salted egg yolk, pork belly, peanuts.
Let me practice those. Salted egg yolk, pork belly, peanuts. My absolute favorite is definitely the salted egg yolk. It has that rich, savory, amazing taste. It's so, how do you say it? Not sweet.
The word you are looking for is savory. Great word, Paul. Let's spell that for our listeners. S-A-V-O-R-Y. It means salty, rich, and delicious, the opposite of sweet.
Savory, yes. The pork belly and salted egg yolk make the sticky rice super savory. Now I can describe my lunch perfectly.
Part 2, the story of Yuan.
Okay, Emily, so after I told Dave about the food, he asked another question. He said, "Why do you eat this? Is it just a food festival or is there a story behind it?"
Ah, the origin story.
Yes, I wanted so badly to tell him about Yuan. I know the story in Chinese perfectly, but when I tried to translate it into English, I got stuck again. My vocabulary is just too limited. I don't know fancy historical words like government official, political corruption, or exile.
Paul, let me stop you right there. This is a huge mistake many language learners make. You do not need hard or sophisticated words to tell a great story. In fact, simple storytelling is often much more powerful and memorable. Let's break down the tragic story of Yuan into super simple, bite-sized sentences for an absolute beginner to use. Listeners, grab your notebooks and listen to these short sentences. He was a great poet. He loved his country very much. He was very sad, so he jumped into the river.
Oh wow, that really breaks it down. Let me try repeating that slowly to get the rhythm. He was a great poet. He loved his country very much. He was very sad, so he jumped into the river.
That is beautiful, Paul. Clean, accurate, and easy to understand. Now, Dave might ask, but why do you eat rice and race boats just because a poet jumped into a river? This brings us to the most important part of the myth, the boats and the rice. Let's use 3 more simple sentences. People wanted to save him. They paddled boats to scare the fish. They threw rice into the water so the fish wouldn't eat him.
Oh, now the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. So because of that story, I can conclude by saying, we race boats today to remember him.
Brilliant. To remember him. That is the key phrase. Let's have all our listeners practice that with Paul. We race boats to remember him.
Emily, I have a quick question about the grammar. Is it really okay if I just say, scare the fish? It sounds like a child speaking. Is it professional enough?
It is absolutely perfect. In English learning, we call this A1 or A2 level English, but guess what? Native speakers say it all the time. It's vivid, clear, and 100% grammatically correct. You don't need to say to deter the aquatic wildlife from consuming his remains. That's way too complicated. Scare the fish gets the job done perfectly.
Yeah, deter the aquatic wildlife sounds like a science textbook. I will stick to scare the fish.
Part 3. Dragons and Drums.
Whoa, Emily, do you hear that? Speak of the devil. That's the unmistakable sound of the dragon boat race. It is so incredibly loud and energetic.
It really gets your heart pumping, doesn't it? The energy is amazing. Now, Paul, let's imagine you are standing by the riverbank with Dave, watching the race right now. How would you describe the boat itself to him?
I would say it's a very long boat. It has a colorful dragon head at the bow and a dragon tail at the stern.
Excellent description. It paints a perfect picture. Now, look at the people inside the boat. There are so many of them moving together. What do we call them? They aren't just rowers. We call them paddlers. Let's spell that. Paddlers.
Paddlers. So rowers use oars, but these people use paddles, right? The paddlers use paddles to move the boat very fast.
Spot on. And notice the most important person sitting at the very front of the boat facing everyone else. That is the drummer. He or she is hitting that giant drum with all their strength. Why do you think they do that, Paul? Is it just for music?
No, it's like the heartbeat of the boat. The drummer beats the drum to help everyone paddle at the same time.
Exactly. If one person paddles too early or too late, the boat slows down or turns. So this entire sport is a perfect example of teamwork. Let's repeat that together. Teamwork.
Teamwork. It really requires incredible synchronization. Now, I really want to invite Dave to experience this in person. I want to ask him to join me this weekend. How do I say that naturally?
That is a fantastic idea. Inviting foreigners to local events is the best way to make friends. Let's practice 3 powerful invitation sentences that our listeners can use this week. 1. Do you want to see the dragon boat race with me? 2. The atmosphere is very exciting. 3. Let's go together this weekend at noon.
Let me try this second one. The atmosphere is very exciting. Whew, Emily, atmosphere is a big, scary word. How do I pronounce it correctly?
Don't be afraid of it. Let's break it down into syllables. Atmosphere. It looks tough, but it's incredibly useful. You can use it to describe the feeling or vibe of any place, a party, a restaurant, a night market, or a football game.
Ah, so atmosphere means the overall feeling of the environment. The atmosphere at the river is exciting and loud. Did I use it right?
You used it beautifully, Paul. Dave is definitely going to say yes to your invitation. Part 4. Luck and Health.
Now, Emily, there is one last part of the festival I need help with. When I walked out of my apartment building this morning, I noticed my mom and almost all our neighbors had hung these long green plants on their front doors. They have a very strong herbal smell. How on earth do I explain that custom?
Ah, you are talking about the traditional health customs. You see, historically, the fifth lunar month was considered a time of sickness and plagues because the weather gets hot and pests come out. So this festival wasn't just about a poet. It was originally about staying healthy and keeping bad things away.
Oh, can I tell Dave we hang plants to keep ghosts away?
Well, you can say that, and it will definitely make Dave laugh. But a more common, natural phrase would be to keep bad luck and sickness away.
To keep bad luck and sickness away. Got it. That sounds a bit more accurate. But what are those plants actually called?
The primary plant is called mugwort. It's a traditional herb, and often children will also wear these tiny, colorful, handmade cloth bags around their necks that are filled with ground mugwort and other herbs. In English, we call them perfume pouches or scented sachets.
Perfume pouches. That's a pretty name. They smell very traditional and earthy, like natural herbs.
They do. And what about the game with the eggs, Paul? This is my absolute favorite childhood tradition of the entire festival.
Oh, yes, egg standing. It's a crazy tradition. We believe that at exactly 12 noon on this day, the gravity or cosmic energy changes. If you can make a raw egg stand up on its end at noon, you will get good luck for the whole year.
Let's practice that exact structure for our listeners. It's a great conditional sentence. If the egg stands, you get good luck.
If the egg stands, you get good luck. I tried it last year on my living room floor. It was so frustrating. It took me almost 20 minutes of sitting on the floor holding my breath just to get one egg to stand up.
But you did it, and that means you had a whole year of good luck. See? It works.
It really does. Wow, Emily, we covered so much ground today. I feel so much more confident now. I don't feel scared to talk to Dave anymore. If he asks me tomorrow, I can just confidently say, "Hey Dave, come eat this Chinese tamale, watch the exciting dragon boat race, and let's stand an egg at noon for good luck."
Look at you. You sound like an absolute cultural ambassador and a total English pro, Paul. I am so proud of your progress today.
Thank you, Emily. I couldn't have done it without these simple sentence formulas.
And to our wonderful listeners out there, now it's your turn. Your homework for today is to find at least one English-speaking friend, colleague, or language partner and tell them about the great poet or the Chinese tamale. Practice makes perfect.
Wishing everyone a safe, healthy, and happy Dragon Boat Festival. Enjoy your Zonza.
Yes, stay curious, keep practicing, and keep exploring the world through language. See you all in the next episode.
Bye-bye, everyone.